What's up, Crusaders? Welcome back to another episode of Arcade Crusade. In today's video, we have another new pickup. I just picked up a pin for a really good deal, and yeah, I'll show you guys what I got. So I got a Williams 1994 Red and Ted's Roadshow. This is a Pat Lawler game from 1994. It was his game directly after Twilight Zone. It's a good game. Basically, you know, it's kind of a mix of Funhouse and Addams Family in one game. Just kind of, you know, a lot of Pat Lawler things. You got two Rudy heads, Red and Ted, instead of Rudy on Funhouse. Interesting layout, a lot of cool stuff in this one. One of the first games that had DCS sound. Yeah, I don't know if this is part of the super pin lineup, as they call it, or if this was slightly before. I'm not too sure what the dates are on that. But looking at the cabinet, decals are in incredible shape. Cabinet in general is in great shape. Really everything on this game is in great shape. Translite is in great shape. Red and Ted are both in great shape. His Bulldozer's pretty dirty. We'll see what we can clean there. Otherwise, I might throw some decals on it. But yeah, basically, the story behind this was last Sunday, I'm on Facebook Marketplace. I just finished cutting the lawn, so I was just looking around to see if there was anything new listed that I could pick up. And I see a listing under ping space ball machine, $500. And I'm figuring it's just like, you know, just an EM or something, you know, an old solid state that's beat up and, you know, falling apart. And I click it, and it's this Roadshow sitting on the ground like it is, and pictures of it working. It had a credit dot, so I knew something was wrong with it, but $500. So I messaged the guy. It had been up for, you know, I think 15, 20 minutes. I messaged a guy. He only lived about 20, 30 minutes away from me, and I say, you know, hey, I'll come take a look at it. If it's decent, you know, I'll take it. You know, as long as the pictures he had were real. $500 for a Roadshow is ridiculous. This is like a $3,500 game. So the pictures look good, everything looked good, so I hopped in the car, gave him his $500 and loaded it up, and I didn't even really mess with it when I was there, because for $500, who cares? But this thing's in incredible shape. And actually, if you look at the instruction card here, RJB, the pinball store in that's North Lake Street, in Mundelein, Illinois. They had refurbished this at some point. I don't know when, what happened, but they had refurbished this game. And the guy who sold it to me, he got it from a family friend. They were moving. They had a pool table, a pinball machine. They had a few things in their basement, things that people have, and they gave this to him. So for the most part, it's about 98% working. There's a burnt bulb in the pop bumper, and I need to check if the socket is bad. The Bulldozer and Ted switches aren't registering. And if you know anything about this game, those boards are they're Eddy proximity boards that detect underneath the playfield. They don't actually know if you hit Ted. They don't know if you hit the Bulldozer. There's boards underneath that detect when a ball passes across its motion. So those probably need an adjustment. I honestly doubt that they're broken, considering this game was shopped. I mean, it was probably shopped like 5 to 10 years ago based on the condition it's in. But it's really clean. There's barely any playfield wear. I already ordered a Cliffy for the Start City event, but the Blast Zone has like absolutely no wear. So this one, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I think I'm just probably going to LED it, clean it, rebuild flippers if I need to, re-rubber it. I'm just going to do all my usual stuff to this one, and once I do that, I'm going to play it for a while and then decide if I want to get rid of it. But the reason it's on the ground right now is similar to my Twilight Zone. We have one bad leg bracket. It was right on the front here. Somebody broke a bolt off in it, so I'm going to have to order one of these before we can get it on the legs. It does have the blue, I don't know if they were painted or powder coated from the factory from Williams, but it does have it. I drilled the coin door lockout. He actually did not have the key for the lock for the back glass, but a little tip: if you guys get a T20 bit with a hole in the center, any WPC game that has this style lock, you won't have to mess with the lock. You can just show up with your T20 bit, unscrew this, take the lock off. You can take your back glass off. You can take your bolts off behind here and fold the head down. So that's just a little tip. Just always have a T20 security bit, and you can take these locks off. But anyways, he didn't have the key for this. I actually found it in the bottom of the cabinet back here. So I don't even need to get a lock for that now that I have the key for it. But, you know, decals are in really good shape. We got a little bit of cabinet wear right here, but that's easily fixable. If I want to touch it up, I'll probably leave it. But I mean, there's barely even any wrinkling but where the legs go. Buttons are in great shape. You know, everything's in very good shape here. So let's start up a game real quick.
Let's wreck some roads.
So red is working, Ted's working, all their coils are working. It's just the switch up there. And it's gonna be playing real slow because I just have it up on 2x4s right now. But I mean, their eyes are working and it's going side to side. So I need to go through all the tests and kind of figure out what we're dealing with here. There we go, into the city event hole. We'll start New York, but we can't actually hit anything. Yeah, so I need to get the glass off, adjust the proximity boards and everything, but it's fully playing a game and everything's here. Someone definitely rebuilt this game not too long ago, so I'll get the glass off, get the playfield up, kind of see what we're dealing with, and then I'll set up the camera, and maybe we'll go through the Red and Ted tests, and just stuff like that. And actually, we can probably do those tests right now. Let me turn it off. It's making a weird squeal. I might have to rebuild the DCS soundboard. But anyways, let me go into the tests here. I think it's at the end. Yeah, here we go. The TED test, and make sure when you do this, I think you gotta close the coin door for the coils to work. Yeah. Here we go. Eyes open, mouth closed. Eyes wide, eyes left, closed. Eyes open, mouth closed. Yep, so Ted is fully working. Again, you gotta close the coin door when you do this, otherwise these coils won't fire. Red's fully working. That's the full test for both of them right there. So just going through. I'm getting a little bit of a glare because I got the garage open. Here, we can go into the Bulldozer test as well. So it's on stop right now. Here we go, it's running. The optos are picking it, going up and down. So the Bulldozer's working well. Is just probably gonna need a good cleaning, maybe take it apart, but you know, Bulldozer's looking good. So we know Red and Ted are both working. We hopefully just have to adjust those switches, you know, check on the pop bumper socket, and then I'm gonna start making a list of parts I need to order. And I'll show you guys the entire parts list. And the parts list, it's gonna look a lot like what I order for every single game that I rebuild. So let me get the glass off and we'll take a closer look. All right guys, so I got the glass off and the playfield lifted, and I went ahead and I adjusted the proximity boards for Ted's mouth, Red's mouth, and the Bulldozer switch. And I'm just going to show you guys where they're located and how to adjust these. If you own a Roadshow or any games that have Eddy boards similar to this, they take tweaking from time to time. Things get out of whack. So there's 3 proximity boards on this game. We got one right here, one right here, and one up here. The one up here is for Red. This one is for the excuse me, this one's for the Bulldozer, and then this one is for Ted's mouth. So that's all 3 of them. And right now, you'll notice all of these, let me zoom in. You'll notice all of these right now, the LEDs, there's a red LED on that board, the LEDs are off. And you want the LEDs off so that when a ball crosses its path, the LED turns on. If the LED's on, you know you have an issue with that. So I'm just gonna go real close, and let me make sure you guys can see this. Kind of move these wires out of the way. But there is a small potentiometer right here where I have my screwdriver. And I'll see if I can zoom a little bit more. Small potentiometer right here. So what you're going to do is take your little flathead screwdriver and you're just going to turn until the light comes on. So right there, the light's on. So that means something is blocking its path. So what you want to do is right when you get it to the point right where the light goes on and off, you want to dial it back to where the light goes off, just like that. And we'll double check. Light on, light off, right there. So now the light's off and the Bulldozer will be picking up switches. And just to show it one last time, right there, let's go a little bit back, right there is good. So you can do this adjustment can be done on all 3 boards. So right here is the one for Ted's mouth, this one is for the Bulldozer, and then I'll zoom out a little bit more, and this one back here is for red. So upon adjusting those, I know I'm good there. So that's good. The other thing is I was kind of doing some testing, and actually let me test. I never tested this bulb. What I like to do is I just kind of like to bounce bulbs around to make sure that things are working. Just to know if you have an issue with the board or if you just have a burnt out bulb or a bad socket. And I always keep a few of the light sockets on hand. But I was going through and I was doing that for the United States map on the main part of the playfield here. And I noticed one weird thing. The San Francisco light, no matter what I did, it would not come on. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the game off and kind of show you guys what I was doing. So if you look at the lamp matrix, these light boards are pretty simplistic if you understand electronics. But basically, if you look at the lamp matrix and what wires go to where, it says for, and I'm looking down in the bottom of the cabinet, it says the San Francisco light should be a red and brown wire from your row and a yellow and orange wire from your column. So you can see this connector here, and I just have my multimeter on continuity here. See if I can find a good place to put this. This is always the absolute worst part. It's actually a pretty good spot to put it. So basically the San Francisco light is here, and I just came in and I checked yellow and brown right there. You can hear that beep. So I got my left test lead, the red one right here on the left side of the bulb. We go to our yellow side, which is our non-diode side. Your yellow side is yellow wires, always going to be your non-diode side. And then your red side, if you test for continuity from the bulb to, and I'll actually pull this off just to make it a little bit easier. So again, just to illustrate, test that pin there. Now the other thing we need to test is continuity between the bulb and the diode, which we have right there. So bulb and diode, we're good. So knowing that, I knew we were getting a good connection there, so it kind of led me to deduce that the either the connection that runs from the it is the, let me check, red and the connection from the red and brown wire to the diode was bad, which, let me check where red and brown is. There we go. Third pin there. Red and brown to the diode. We have a connection there between red and brown and the diode. So we know it's good there. So then we have continuity in all spots here, but for some odd reason this bulb will not come on no matter what bulb and what socket I put in there. So that leads me to believe that our diode is bad. And we can actually test this. I can actually show you guys how to test the diode. Let me zoom in a little bit on my multimeter. It's actually a pretty good spot to rest it on this wiring harness here. I don't think I can fit it in here. It would be nice. There we go. Alright, don't recommend doing this because I have this like completely rigged up here. But the way to test your diode here, so if we go to the next diode over, which we know is a good diode, and we test across it. So we have a diode right here and we test across it. One of the ways is going to be out of limit. So it's just going to be a 1 or a 0 on your multimeter. Okay? Now if we switch our red and black leads, what does that read? That reads 556. And if we go one over to the next one, 560. So these are going to be from like 570 to like 700. I mean 500 to 700. But there's two good diodes right there. Now the diode on our San Francisco lamp is the one all the way on the end. If we test that with our red and black, out of limit, over limit, and over limit, even if we switch the leads. So we have a bad diode. I think it's a 4004 or 4001. So basically what I need to do is I need to pull this entire light board off and we got to swap that diode out. So these diodes don't go bad that often. You actually don't see this too much. But the right thing to do is just look at your switch matrix, see which wires should be running to the bulb that is currently out. Make sure you have continuity everywhere. Once you know you have continuity, you can start testing for bad parts, and that is what led me to find out that that diode right there is bad. So yeah, that was, it's not always fun to trace down issues like that because you're just sitting there beeping continuity for traces, but that should be pretty helpful if you guys ever encounter lamp board issues. I mean, same goes for switch matrices and things like that. Basically, the way it works is that one of the wires works as one of the wires is going to feed it voltage, the other one's going to feed the CPU, telling it to turn on. It needs both of those to actually turn on. So, I know this lamp board, let me zoom out. I know the lamp board down here is good. We have our proximities adjusted. I showed you the red and TED test earlier. All those solenoids are working. I know this board right here is good. So really, I just got to, I don't think there's really anything under the playfield I need to test. Let me pull this down and kind of show you guys what it looks like turned on with the glass off. Shaker motor does work. I tested that. All of the trough switches work. So just one, and I got all the switches working, so there's really just one bulb that we need to worry about. So let me take this off. All right, so I had to make a couple switch adjustments. That switch there wasn't doing too well. There's a switch hidden back there that wasn't being caught when the ball was going over it, so I adjusted that, and then our 3 proximity switches, which are now all tuned up. That bulb is actually on underneath the boombox. I thought it wasn't, so we know that socket's good. So we're good there. So now we're kind of at the point that we can just order all the parts that we need. So I have an entire parts list pulled up. And let me just go ahead and go through it. And there's a few things I'm going to add to this. I always like to get a few extra of the twist lamp sockets for the boards, because some of them might end up being not too good. So I always like to get a few of those. But right now, my current list is I'm going to get 8 brand new leg bolts. I'm going to get 4 brand new leg levelers, keeping the existing legs. I'm going to get 2 of our inner cabinet brackets, the one that was stripped out that had a bulb cracked off inside of it. I'm going to get 2 of those just in case one of the another one ends up being bad. So 4 new pinballs. Every time you shop out a game, put new balls in it. This game takes 4 balls. So, and it says right there, install 4 balls to play. So put 4 new pins, 4 new pinballs in it. I need to get a coin door lock. I need to get 1 wing bolt for the back box. It's missing one of them. I need to, so the plastic rear glass channel is bent down here. I think I'm going to get a new one just because that one doesn't look too good, and these are only like, I don't know, $5 to $7. I'm going to get, I already ordered a Cliffy for the city event hole, so that's in the mail. I'm going to get a full black rubber kit, black rubbers on this game. I looked at the flippers, they have been rebuilt, so whenever this company did work to it, they rebuilt the flippers, so I'm not going to rebuild them, I'm just going to clean them up real nice. I'm going to do Comet LEDs. I think I'm going to do, there's a lot of blue in this game. Cool might look alright, but I think I'm going to do sunlight. So I'm going to do sunlight bulbs. Got to get new 906 flashers. I'm going to get new shooter rod springs for both the flying rocks and the normal shooter. So we'll rebuild both shooter rods. I think I'm just going to keep them black. I don't care about changing the colors on them. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the most part. I got to get the diode for the light board. I'm going to take that light board off and take it home. I have the game in my mom's garage right now because I do not have any space in my garage or my basement right now because I'm pretty much at capacity. So it's sitting in her garage right now, and she only lives like 15-20 minutes from me, so I just drive over here when I need to work on it. But I'll show you guys what our back box looks like, because this is the only thing I really haven't shown, as well with the back glass. And the back glass is in Translite on this game. Translite's in great shape. So back here, incredible shape. It looks like the ribbon cables are like brand new. Somebody put the not remote mounted, but it's the raised battery board on there, so it can't cause damage. So I'm not going to put NVRAM on this one because I don't plan on keeping it, so I'm just going to swap batteries out. Somebody took the bridge rectifier and they pulled it off the board and they just have it hanging here, and that, I mean, that's actually fine. It makes it a lot less hot. Like if you feel this one, it's got some heat. This one is dead cold. So having the bridge rectifier off the board like that isn't a big deal. And it looks like the one they replaced it with actually didn't have the right leads to poke through the board. So that's probably why they did that. They probably didn't have the right one on hand and just swapped it out. But I mean, aside from that, everything else back here is super clean. It does have a knocker, still has the original switch matrix and fuse list and solenoid flash lamp table. Everything is still stapled. Same at the bottom of the cabinet. Looks like all of our lights are working in the back glass, so that's easy. I'm gonna start counting bulbs to know how many sunlights I need to order, but I think I'm gonna do sunlight frosted, and then sunlight frosted in the back box, and then sunlight clear for all the inserts. So I gotta pull that board because I need to swap that diode, but I think I'm gonna tear this a topside tear down when I clean everything, but I don't think this game is gonna need more than that, and that is a pretty good sign. So that was just just kind of an introduction of me troubleshooting things with this game. So I adjusted the proximity, adjusted a couple switches, figured out a lamp issue. I can film swapping out the diode at home when I take this board home. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just it's normally what I do when I get a new game. I just start going through literally everything that I can. So that I'm just looking to see if there's any other lights out that I didn't notice, but I don't think so. So let me turn down the light a little bit before I completely blow myself out. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this one. Just a quick pickup video and, you know, some basic troubleshooting. I don't think this is going to take too much work, so I'm just going to order everything that I pretty much listed out. We'll get an order placed and then we'll start working on it. So yeah, that does it for this week's episode. Thanks for watching, guys.